When you look up at the night sky, you aren't just looking at stars. You are looking at a history book written in photons. Image, a crystal clear view of the Milky Way galaxy arching over a desolate mountain range at night. But what if I told you that the light you see is a lie? That the stars you perceive as fixed points are actually fleeing from you at incredible speeds? Image, a long exposure shot of star trails circling the celestial pole. The universe is expanding. It isn't just moving through space, space itself is stretching, like a rubber sheet being pulled in every direction at once. Image, the digital animation of a balloon being inflated with dots on the surface moving away from each other. We live in a reality where the floor is constantly shifting beneath our feet, even if we can't feel it. Image, a conceptual render of the cosmic web, showing filaments of galaxies connected by dark matter. This is the story of how everything came to be, and more importantly, how it will all eventually end. Image, the high-resolution close-up of a vibrant, swirling nebula filled with dust and gas. For most of human history, we viewed the universe as a static stage. A permanent set piece. Image, an old, hand-drawn map of the geocentric solar system from the 16th century. But in the early 20th century, that illusion shattered. Edwin Hubble observed that distant galaxies were moving away from us. The further away they were, the faster they retreated. Image, a portrait of Edwin Hubble looking through a vintage telescope. It meant the universe had a beginning. A moment where the entire cosmos was compressed into a point of infinite density. Image, a cinematic animation of the Big Bang, starting from a tiny spark and expanding into a sea of light. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion in space. It was an explosion of space. Image, a macro shot of water droplets forming a ripple in a dark, still pool. At that instant, time and physics as we know them were forged in the white-hot heat of creation. Image, a swirling, abstract representation of early cosmic plasma in shades of orange and yellow. Everything was energy. Pure, chaotic energy, cooling just enough to allow the first subatomic particles to condense. Image, a microscopic view animation of protons and neutrons clumping together to form the first atoms. Gravity took over. It gathered the hydrogen and helium, pulling them into dense, collapsing clouds. Image, a CGI simulation of a massive gas cloud beginning to rotate and collapse into a star. Inside these protostars, the pressure became so immense that hydrogen nuclei fused into helium, releasing the first light of the universe. Image, the brilliant, blinding flash representing the ignition of the first stars. These stars lived hard and died fast, scattering heavier elements across the void, the carbon, the iron, the oxygen that would eventually make us. Image, a massive supernova explosion, ejecting colorful, gaseous debris into the surrounding space. But as we look deeper into the modern universe, a terrifying anomaly emerges. Image, a wide-field view of the Deep Space Telescope imaging a patch of supposedly empty sky. We expected gravity to eventually slow down the expansion of the universe. Image, a conceptual graphic showing a ball rolling up a hill and slowing down. But it didn't. In the late 1990s, scientists made a discovery that changed everything. Image, the graph showing the rate of cosmic expansion accelerating over time. The expansion is speeding up. Image, a dark, abstract background with glowing lines suggesting an invisible force pushing outward. Something is pushing the universe apart. We call it dark energy. Image, a 3D render of a grid-like structure of space-time being stretched and warped. We don't know what it is. We can't see it, touch it, or measure it directly. Image, the silhouette of a scientist standing in front of a giant computer screen filled with complex data. Yet, it makes up nearly 70% of everything in the cosmos. Image, a pie chart visualization showing dark energy occupying the majority of the universe's composition. It is the engine of the void. Image, a wide, sweeping shot of a galaxy cluster moving slowly through the vastness of space. Imagine the universe as a giant, cosmic dinner party. Dark energy is the guest that keeps pushing the tables further and further apart. Image, an animation showing galaxy clusters drifting apart, becoming increasingly isolated. Eventually, the tables will be so far away that we won't even see the other guests. Image, a view of a lone galaxy surrounded by absolute, pitch-black darkness. This is the Big Freeze. Image, a cold, blue-tinted animation of a star fading to black as its fuel runs out. But here is the twist. the laws of physics are not just random. They appear fine-tuned. Image, a delicate balance scale held by a robotic hand in a high-tech lab. If the force of gravity were just a fraction stronger, the universe would have collapsed back into a black hole immediately after the Big Bang. Image, a visual representation of a crushing gravitational collapse. If it were a fraction weaker, stars and galaxies would never have formed. Image, a sea of uniform, unmoving hydrogen gas filling the frame. We exist in a sliver of possibility that allowed for atoms to hold together, for planets to form, and for consciousness to emerge. Image, a detailed close-up of a human eye with a galaxy reflected in the iris. Is this luck? Or is there something more profound at play? Image, a philosophical conceptual art piece showing a mirror reflecting an infinite series of doors. The answer might lie in the multiverse theory. Image, an abstract digital art piece showing multiple overlapping bubble-like universes. If there are infinite universes, each with different physical constants, then of course we find ourselves in one that allows for life. Image, a series of vibrant, multicolored bubble shapes floating in a dark vacuum. We are the beneficiaries of an infinite game of cosmic chance. Image, a wide, cinematic shot of a sunset on an alien planet with 2 moons. But let's bring it back to the present. Image, a view of Earth floating in the vast, dark emptiness of our local neighborhood. Our planet, our sun, and our entire galaxy are just ripples in this gargantuan, ever-expanding fabric. Image, a zoom-out sequence starting from Earth, moving to the solar system, then the galaxy. We are constantly moving through space-time, yet we feel stationary. Image, the high-motion blur effect of stars streaking past the camera. It is the ultimate paradox of human perception. Image, a calm, contemplative shot of a person looking at the stars from a beach. What does it mean to be a living, breathing part of this massive, accelerating system? Image, a close-up of human skin cells transitioning into a star field pattern. Perhaps we are the universe's way of understanding itself. Image, a stunning, high-definition nebula in vibrant purple and gold hues. Every atom in your body was once inside the core of a dying star. Image, an artistic render of stardust swirling around a human silhouette. You are literally made of space stuff. Image, a slow-motion shot of a handful of sand being poured, with the grains glowing like stars. And one day, that material will return to the void, recycled by the expansion of the cosmos. Image, a view of an entire galaxy slowly fading into a faint, distant glow. The cycle of birth, life, and death isn't just a human experience. Image, a side-by-side comparison of a human cell division and a nebula expanding. It is the fundamental process of the universe. Image, the time-lapse of a flower blooming, layered over a time-lapse of a galaxy rotating. As the universe ages, the stars will eventually burn out. Image, a single, dying red dwarf star emitting its last flicker of light. The cosmos will become a dark, cold, and empty expanse. Image, an extremely dark, minimalist scene with only the faintest suggestion of starlight. But don't let that discourage you. Image, a bright, hopeful image of a supernova illuminating a dark cloud of dust. The fact that we are here at all, in this brief, glowing moment between the birth and the darkness, is nothing short of miraculous. Image, a montage of human achievements, from spaceflight to laboratory research. We are the brief flickering lights in an endless night. Image, a close-up of a lone candle flame burning in a completely dark room. We look up not because we have to, but because we are part of the mystery. Image, a wide shot of a giant telescope dome opening up to the night sky. We are the observers. Image, a cinematic shot of a satellite drifting silently through the orbit of Earth. The universe doesn't have a plan. It doesn't have an ego. Image, a vast, complex simulation of galaxy filaments stretching across the screen. It just is. Image, a single, glowing point of light in the center of a black screen. And yet, in our tiny corner of space, we have built societies, created art, and decoded the very laws that govern our destruction. Image, a fast-paced montage of human architecture, technology, and nature. We have turned the unknown into the known. Image, a shot of a blackboard filled with complex quantum physics equations. We have mapped the heavens. Image, a beautiful, detailed digital map of the observable universe. And we have dared to ask why. Image, a silhouette of a person looking out over a vast horizon during the golden hour. That why is what defines us. Image, a close-up of a human hand reaching out toward a cluster of distant stars. The expansion of the universe will continue, pulling the horizon further away from our reach. Image, an abstract representation of space-time lines stretching to infinity. But until the last star flickers out, we will keep looking. Image, a wide-angle view of an observatory perched on a mountain peak. We will keep calculating. Image, the high-tech digital interface displaying streams of data about exoplanets. We will keep dreaming. Image, a cinematic view of a spaceship flying through a dense, glowing asteroid field. Because the universe is not just space and matter. Image, a beautiful, artistic shot of a comet streaking through a colorful nebula. It is a story. Image, a slow fade out from a sparkling galaxy to a simple, white, empty background. And every single one of us is writing our chapter. Image, a final, awe-inspiring shot of the entire night sky filled with millions of stars. What will your chapter contain? Image, a soft, glowing light appearing in the center of the dark frame. The void is waiting to be explored. Image, a wide, cinematic shot of the Earth suspended in the infinite, silent blackness of space. Stay curious. Image, a final, clean logo animation of the channel, fading into black.